Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? Let's see. My YouTube is up. My Facebook is up. So going, I'll be using both platforms today, um, Facebook and YouTube. Hold on. I'm just trying to figure out why my lighting is off. Just give me a moment to figure this out. My computer lighting is not as bright as I would like it to be, but maybe that's just on me. All right. So here I am. I am here, there, and everywhere. Go ahead and hit like, subscribe. Those of you that are on my Facebook page, share this video. I think it's important. What I'm about to share is quite important. If you're on my Facebook page, please hit like and share this video because I think it's something that people need to hear. And it's something that was on my heart a few days ago, but I didn't get a chance to go live about it. So, hey, Ricky, what's happening? So I entitled this Slow Down and Pay Attention. And then I hashtag several things in there conflict. Hey, what's going on? How's everybody doing out there? Today is, oh, that's sad because I don't know what today is. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? I travel so much until I am completely off. I figured somebody would call, but I am completely off. Hey, Gail, what's happening? Hey, Ricky, I am completely off with the day. Is today Wednesday or Thursday? Is today Wednesday or Thursday? Somebody just type it in there. Hey, Kitty, what's happening? Tell me what today is because people are not responding back to me. I'm not really aware of uh, what is today. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? I do a lot of traveling. So, anyways, I decided, hey, Lamar, what's happening? Yeah, somebody tell me what is today. Is it Wednesday? Thank you so much. I think people be afraid to comment on here in fear of who would see them. So, anyways, I am having an amazing time with my life. I literally love the life I live, and I live the life I love. And I just want to share a few things that I think is important. Hey Bishop, I was going to I was going to share this piece of information a few days ago, but time didn't permit me to do it, and I started traveling. I had a flight to catch, so I was time restricted, and I still am time restricted. But I wanted to be able to share this. Neff, what's happening? I love you too. Uh, let's chat. I mean, I've been in constant movement for the most part. Those of you that know that you know, I'm out of the country and I'm in and out of the country. But something I wanted to share, and some of you have followed my life and you saw it some time ago. And I just listen. Transparency is everything, and being able to express your truth and being able to be expressive. When people can't express what they're feeling, then there is a blockage. And I really do believe you block blessings as well from coming to you and through you because you're not able to express. You're holding something in that needs to come out. And so as long as it stays in, there is no room for nothing else to come in and bless you. So I think our highest form of nutrition is expression. And I shared it with you on the last video. We were taught not to express ourselves when we were kids, when our parents would discipline us. And back then we would call it beating us. And then we would cry and they'll tell you to shut up before I give you something to cry about. That was one of the first phases of us being told, don't express how you feel. And so we grew up with being non expressive. and we hold things in that is killing us, basically, because we can't express how we feel, what happened to us, who did it to us, in fear of the backlash, in fear of not being believed, in fear of someone saying, shut up before I give you something to hurt about, as if what you're doing to me is not hurting me already. Our parents did it to us. So back in my day, we got discipline with extension cords or whatever was around. And so, and they didn't believe in whipping your clothes because they worked hard. Hey, Dwight, our parents worked hard for our clothes, so they didn't beat our clothes out. You had to take off your shirt, and they would get that extension cord and they would whip you. Now, today, y'all would call it abuse, but I've never been in trouble with the law, right? Or they would tell us to go take a bath and don't lock the bathroom door. We knew what that meant in our household. We knew that I'm getting ready to be gotten for old and new. So they'll tell you, our mom would say, go in there. My mama would say, go in that bathroom, don't lock that door and take a bath. And all of a sudden, once you start getting wet, you trying to hurry up. She comes in with that extension cord and she is beating you for old and new because sometimes she didn't get you on the spot. She look at you and say, I'm going to get you. You understand? So when they beat us or they discipline us and we cry, right? We would cry and scream. I was bad. I mean, when I said bad, I had it bad. Now, I wasn't a bad child, but I had it bad. I'm the youngest of 8, but I had it bad. Before you could draw back, I'm already hollering, screaming and hollering. You know what I'm saying? Because I already felt the pain in my spirit, my mind, my spirit. Listen, when the scripture say he knew you before you were formed, I knew what that strike was going to feel like. So I started hollering and crying before my mother ever struck. So I'm already in tears and carrying on and doing all of this. But then when that cord hit you and hit the back and whelp you up, because they're going to cover you up before you go to school, alcohol, whatever, and you better not tell the teacher what took place in your house. So my mother raised 8 children by herself, 7 boys and a girl. The girl was the oldest, is the oldest, and I am the youngest. So there's a lot of things I got away with that they got punished for, because my mother would say, he doesn't know any better. Why y'all let him do this, that, and the other? I'm the baby of 8. So, but by the time I came along, my mother wasn't as, she was tired, like 8 children, raising them by yourself, right? So our level of expression became very low because they told us not to cry. You've just inflicted pain upon me with a drop cord, with a hanger, or with the switch that you had to go out and break, and they tied it up or plaited it up, and they got you really good, and you had to come out of your clothes to get a beating, because they're not going to tear up the clothes that they just so they scuffered, as my mother would say, scuffered so hard to work for. And so, first of all, thank you all for chiming in. I know I don't do this very often, especially those of you that are on my YouTube channel. Please take a moment and hit that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so when I do come on, you'll be notified of my streaming live. If you're on Facebook, if you're not ashamed, it's my godmother, Pastor Pinkins. God bless you. So good to see you. Go ahead and hit that like button and then share the video. So I got to make this not quick, but fast. It's 1:10. I have a flight to catch, but I wanted to be able to share something with you that just hit me really hard a few days ago. So it is Don't Miss Out. What was the title of this? What was this title? Can somebody tell me what the title I put out there for this video? Slow down, pay attention, don't miss out. Now, what captured me, because I've been reading this book and I'm almost finished, and I must say I have, let me tell you my weakness about reading. I do love to read, but what I will do is try to read multiple books at the same time. I'll pick something up, I'll read a little bit of it, and I'll put this down and I'll pick up another book and then I'll try to read some of that. And ultimately, your hands, you got so many irons in the fire, you don't ever finish anything. So it is my endeavor, it is my heart's desire to complete this book. So I only have uh, this much of this book to read. But I was reading through this book. It's called The Power of Now, and you should go and get it. I think it's an amazing book to read. But I was reading something in this book, and I'm on page 100. Well, let's back up because I was on page 189, and this is what I mean by you need to slow down, pay attention, don't miss out on life by moving too fast. Don't miss out on life by missing you. You're gonna miss stuff by not paying attention. And I found out the younger I got, and I know some of you would like to suggest that I'm getting older, but I am a Benjamin's Button, and I am aging backwards. The younger, the more mature I became, and I'm reading this book, right? And there's something great. I love this. If you just give me a moment, and I'm gonna really get to my point, but I want you to really grasp this. This is a part, it says using and relinquishing negativity, right? So here I am reading this book. It says, all inner resistance is experienced as negativity in one form or another. All negativity is resistance. In this context, the two words are almost synonymous. Negativity ranges from irritation or impatience to fierce anger, from a depressed mood or sullen resentment or suicidal despair. Sometimes the resistance triggers the emotional pain body, in which case, even a minor situation may produce intense negativity, such as anger, depression, or deep grief. Now, as I've gotten more mature, I learned how to read with a pen. This is very important. See, when I was younger, I can glide through, I can skate through these words, right? I can read, and my mind has already read the word before I got there. But as I became more settled in life, more mature, and now that I'm aging backwards, uh, yeah, you are Betty, cousin Betty. And now that I'm aging backwards, right? Somebody saw me yesterday at the airport that I hadn't seen in 3 years. And she said, "Oh my God, I haven't seen." I said, "Yeah, you miss all this chocolate." And she said, "You even look younger." Well, ta-da, you know. So here I am, aging backwards. I am the new Benjamin's Button. So watch though. While I was reading this, it says, listen at what it says, and I'm gonna tell you what I saw. Right, Kitty, you know what it's like, right? Good black don't crack. And let me tell you what I saw while I was reading this. Oh my goodness, Godmama, I love you. I know I need a spanking. I haven't seen you, and I need to come to Atlanta and spend some time with you. And promise you, I will. All right, I love you. Listen, and thank you for praying for me. Uh, Thank you for keeping me in your prayers. Thank you for always hoping the best for me. I really, really, really do appreciate you. Very seldom you find people in your life that really cares about the wholeness of who you are, right? Your whole being, not just one part of you, but your whole being. And she has been that in my life, Sandra Pinkins. Thank you. Um, Let me tell you what I saw while I was reading this. So it says, in which case, even a minor situation, my mind saw, even in this case, a mirror situation, right, may produce, because I overlooked what the word was, and my mind told me what it was because I saw the M. It just made sense to my mind for it to say mirror, right? So as I became more settled in life, Benjamin's Button, yes, that's me, I have to use a pen. or something to go word and word for word for word so that so that I can really pay attention to every word instead of my mind running ahead of my eyes and has already interpreted something that wasn't there. Because truly, the word mirror is not there, it's minor. See, I wrote out those things because as I was reading without the pen or without something to underline or to slow me down and to read word for word, my mind had saw words that weren't there, and it had already interpreted what was there before it even got there. Right. So as I've gotten more Benjamin Buttoned, I have to do this when I'm reading. I used to see older people do this, and I didn't understand. Oh, you can just take it, but you have to do word for word. It's like the word line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. I have to go word for word in case even a minor, because my mind just saw something that wasn't there. As I read long, read with me, reader. Oh God, why do I sound like I'm in church? There's something else. Now I'm gonna read another part of this. So I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna show you something, and I'm gonna go right to my point because I did this quite a bit, and I purposefully did it, and I noticed my error, right? I noticed when I made the mistake, and I realized why I made the mistake. There's another part. Okay, so let me see, where do I part? It said the fact is, of course, that negativity does not work. Instead of attracting a desirable condition, it stops it from arising. Instead of dissolving an undesirable one, it keeps it in place. Its only useful function is its only useful function is that it strengthens the ego, and that is why the ego loves it. Now, so it says that is why the ego loves it. So at first sight, my mind said, it didn't say that. It said that it is why. There's no it there. It just says that is why the ego loves it. But my mind saw that it is why, right? I'm showing you a point. I'm showing something to us that all of us do. We do it. We do it. You either miss a word or you make up a word because your mind sees an M, and instead of saying minor, it says mirror, right? So it's because we do not pay attention to what we are reading. We're moving so fast, we're missing out on the details. We're making up stuff in our mind as we go because we are moving so fast that we're not paying attention. So we just make up as we go. We make up words, we make up situations because we're not paying attention. And I started using a pen, sometimes a bookmarker, but I like pens because I like to write. Uh, I like to write in the books. I like to circle. I see words that I don't know the definition to. So I'll go and define it. I'll draw a line and write the definition to that word. That's how I learn. So I'm not this digital person where I can go read a book or an ebook. I just not who I am. Give me paperback, give me a hardback book. Let me read, let me circle, make marks, let me highlight. That's how I function. Everybody else function differently, but that's how I function. All right. So my whole point to this, and I'm gonna get to it. I was reading so fast, my mind saw a letter. It made up a word that wasn't there, and so it throws off the whole context or the whole structure of the sentence. And so what I started doing was using a pen. As you can tell, this is TD Bank pen. I have all types of pens. Um, I started self-correcting. right? I slow down and I tell myself, you're reading too fast. You see, you missed that word. You see how you made up a word. You see how you made up a word that wasn't there. And how often do we do that? That we move so fast in life. We hear stuff and we miss stuff because we're so quick to hear. We're so quick to hear it and interpret it without really slowing down, reading what it really says in life, and then making the proper adjustments or proper interpretation of what you just read. Oftentimes, we make the same mistake that I have made, but it's nothing wrong with making the mistake, right? What's good about making a mistake is when you can go back and correct it, and you see where your weak points are, and you go back and you work on that. It's called self-correct. When you self-correct, it leaves no space for somebody else to come back and correct you, right? Not that you can't take correction, but self-correction, when you can admit to, I made a mistake, I did it all wrong. I want you to hear the message within the message. I'm using this book, but there is really a message behind this. And we have to start self-correcting when we know we've messed up, when we know we misinterpreted, when we know that we have saw something that really, when our minds have told us something was there that really wasn't. And when you go back in retrospect, take a few steps back, look at it again. It's important that we go back and look at it again, because trust me, I'm going to start over to read this book again. And because I'm sure there's a lot of things that I missed, right? But what I started doing was self-correcting. When I read too fast and I don't go under word for word so that I can interpret what this is really about, and not moving so fast trying to get through the book. Sometimes we try to move so fast so we can get to the finish line. What is the use of getting to the finish line when your mind have put words there, you have misconstrued what is being said, and you refuse to go back and self-correct and go back at it and go back and take another look at it so that you can get the proper interpretation of it and the proper meaning of what we just read, right? So in life, it's the same way. It is. It is a sign of maturity. Hey, Condra, uh, when when you can go back and self-correct, because I can't tell you how many times I miss words and my mind made up a word. This word really says minor. My mind said it was mirror. Can you imagine what that sounds like? In which case, even a mirror situation may produce intense negativity. I moved too fast. I didn't pay attention to the details. I didn't slow down long enough to see what it really was so that I can properly interpret and properly and get a clear understanding of what this book is about. Life is the same way. When you move too fast, when you don't pay attention, when you don't pay attention to the details, right? The details of what you're reading, the details of handling people. Sometimes your perception of what somebody said is wrong because you heard the wrong thing. Self-correction is discipline, accountability, and intentional. It is so true. We got to slow down. Everything is not meant to be in a fast pace, because if you move too fast, you are sure to get it wrong. If you're listening to a conversation, just say that there is conflict and you have a conversation with someone. When when you don't listen, because communicating is really about listening to what the other person feel, because all we want is to be heard, right? So when you listen with the intent of listening and understanding, then you can self-correct and say, oh, I had it wrong because I thought this is what you meant, because I thought this is what I heard you say. People are, but trust me, there are people who are committed to misunderstanding and misinterpreting you. I don't care how you say it. how you write it. You can take it from being, you can take it, you can stop writing in cursive writing and write it in but you just write it in print. They are committed to misunderstanding you, misinterpreting you, because it's their perception. They really don't, they're not listening to you. They want to walk away with their own concept. And it's false because they've not taken the time to listen to you. I often tell people when we're in a conversation and somebody's trying to out talk each other, and I listen to you, but you can't listen to me, or I listen to you, I cut you off and keep you from talking. And I say it all the time. Listen, stop. Listen, stop. We can all sing at the same time, but we cannot talk at the same time. We can't talk at the same time and hear each other. Now we still walk away with no clarity, no understanding. We walk away with false perception, false interpretation, because nobody heard what anybody said, right? In life, slow down, pay attention, self correct. Go back, get an understanding, because you have to be clear in life, in situations, in disagreements. You know why people have disagreements, and you know why people get upset, and they hold all types of, they harbor all types of of unforgiveness, or they hold all types of anger, because there was a lack of communication. It's called The Power of Now. I love this book. It's life changing. It is. I need to finish writing my own book. Um, it is about. It's about listening. See, communication is about listening. It's sometimes people just need you to hear them, and they don't even need your response. They need a listening ear. But when you listen with the intent of misunderstanding, because they will misunderstand. I don't care how you digest it, how you dissect it, how you disseminate it. I don't care how you do it. There are some people. Hey, what's happening? There are some people who are committed to misunderstanding you. They don't want to hear the proper perception. They don't want to see it. So it's important that we slow down, we pay attention, and self-correct. See, when you don't self-correct, it leaves room for everybody else to give their opinion about what you just did or just said. And there are people, they lack communication. Please slow down. Please pay attention. Please self-correct. And that's what I learned to do in this book, just reading. And I got all types of marks in here because my mind saw something, read something that wasn't even there. Because I saw an M, it automatically assumed. There are people who would automatically assume that it's something that's really not. Because their mind has already told them, oh, they must be upset with me. Or see how crazy they're looking at me. And these people, then I'm not even looking at you. You might see my face in your direction, but I'm not looking at you. Or my mind is somewhere else. And people will misinterpret your body language because they are committed to misinterpreting everything you say. Or, as I used as an example a few days ago, a window that's dirty. I had a dirty window. But when I look outside of that window, everything looks dirty. And everything wasn't dirty. It's the lens I was looking through that was dirty, right? Everything looked dirty through that window because my windows needed to be cleaned. Those are huge windows that I have, right? And if I don't clean them, everything looks spotted and dirty. But if I open those windows and look out, it's very clear. When your lens are dirty, the lens that you're looking through, and you try to interpret what you see through dirty lens, you will always misinterpret what's on the other side. If you do not change your perception and see through a different set of lens, because we see through the lens of our experiences, right? If you don't self-correct and start doing something about your past experiences and start letting stuff go, stop harboring things, clean your heart, clean your mouth, cleanse your eyes, cleanse your lens, change the perception. Change your perception. And that's how you change your perception. You got to look through a different set of lens and say, you know what? Maybe I did look at this wrong. Let me look at it from this angle. We have to see things from different angles, because I remember they were playing a game, and this was an interview some years ago. They were playing a game, and I knew what it was about. I knew, uh, I knew that the company was looking for people that were different. So they put all these pieces out on the table. Everybody stood up and was trying to figure this out. They said, no, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. And I verbally said, I am going to sit while you all are standing so that I can see things from a different angle. Because if everybody's standing, you're going to pretty much see it from the same angle. You got to see things differently. You have to change your position, change your perception, change your lens, self-correct. When you know you made a boo-boo and you done messed up, say, you know what? I misinterpreted that, because you didn't slow down. We didn't pay attention to details, and we did not self-correct. That is the lesson for today. Slow down, pay attention, stop missing out on life, stop missing out on things because you're moving too fast. You're moving too fast. Slow down. Read word for word so that your mind won't give you something that's not there, because our mind will always show us something that's not there. Your mind is a very powerful tool, and whatever it perceives, it attracts, and it brings more of that into your mind. So if you always think people are talking about you, regardless, all your life, if you've had the same pattern, oh, nobody likes me, oh, they don't like me, oh, they talking about me. If every group you get in, or every place geographically you go in, and you're going through the same experiences, I promise you 99.9% of the time, it's not them, it's you. It's your perception. It is undealt with. It is stuff. It is, a lot of it is childhood stuff. Childhood. And people to this day, we're still scraping and scrapping for things that we didn't get as children. I talk about this often. There are people who will show up to an event for two reasons. They're late. But I know people who shows up everywhere they go. They're going to be late, and they're going to walk in there late because, and they've been this all of their life, because they have they don't have any regards for time. You don't respect time. And so you'll be late everywhere you go, regardless, everywhere. You might even be late at your own funeral. And there are people who like to show up late because they like to be seen, because they know all eyes are going to be on them. They're going to come in sharp as a tack. I won't say clean as the State Board of Health, because when you start turning those collars and looking under the clothes, it's dirty. It looks good on the outside, but inwardly, that those clothes are filthy. You haven't taken them to the cleaners. They've got pins and things holding them together. You look good on the outside, but you're propped up on the inside, just like a mannequin. Looks good on the outside, but you go around that mannequin, there's a prop holding it up, and all your stuff, 9 times out of 10, is hanging out in the back, right? The front looks good. What you show us look good. That front was what you show us in the front as a mannequin, it gets us into the store. But if you go full circle around, look at that mannequin, it's naked in the back, a lot of times. And there's a prop. You're propped. Now you look good from the front. But if I get to know you, if I follow you home, you're empty. You are a mannequin. You are a dressed up mannequin. So there are people who let's go back to a lot of the stuff that people are looking for, they didn't get it as a child. It's childhood stuff that they still grape it up. They're still trying to grasp at. So there are people who will show up late to every event dressed, but they know everybody's going to turn and look at them, that all eyes are on them. So they can become continue to become puffed and prideful. But you know how I see that? My perception of that, that's a childhood trauma. Somebody didn't pay you any attention when you were a child. So you still reaching for those things that you didn't get as a child. You want to be seen because you were overlooked as a child. You want to be seen because you were overlooked in a relationship or a marriage. You want to be seen, so you show up. You show up so you could be seen because you know everybody's going to look at you. And you're hungry for the compliments. Hungry for it because somebody didn't compliment you as a child. Somebody didn't compliment you in your relationship. So you show up late looking for compliments. One, you don't have any respect for time. Two, you need something to feed your ego to make you feel good about yourself. Three, you need to be complimented because somebody didn't give you that as a child. So you grow up to be 1,000 years old, still craving for things that you didn't get when you were a child. You see? You see? That's what happens. So I look at it from a different perspective. I look at people who wear, no offense to anybody, but I look at people who wear makeup, right? Not wear it, they cake it, right? You look like a total different person. You're hiding something. You're hiding. You want to present to us something. You want to present to us a face, but you're really hiding behind all of that. There's a lot of pain and trauma. Oh, even people dress up their trauma. They dress up their abuse. They dress up because they're hurting. Do you know people are really hurting? You're hurting. I'm hurting. All people are hurting. But it's how you deal with your hurt. Some people deal with it by screaming and being fussy. There's a reason why people are fussy. Every time they got their way of communication is that's the whole communication. It's always a snapping and a quarreling and a grappling because there's some hidden pain. There's some hidden frustration that is untouched, undealt with. And you got to go back to that childhood and deal with that little girl, deal with that little boy that didn't get what they needed, that they did not get the attention they needed. Go back into your childhood and deal with that little boy, deal with that little girl that needed so much attention. And now you're bringing it up in your adulthood. Now it's in your adulthood because you didn't deal with it growing up. It's childhood trauma, y'all. We have a lot of childhood trauma, you know? So it's important that we slow down, pay attention, and self-correct. When you see people that are angry all the time, there's something hidden, something they're holding on to that it is undealt with. And we have to deal with our trauma, or the trauma would deal with us. Deal with that childhood situation. Deal with that abuse that you've dealt with, that you've had to encounter and that you've had to endure. And you didn't tell anybody because you was afraid of what somebody's going to think about you and who was going to believe you, who weren't going to believe you. People make it up. They wear big hats because they're really trying to hide who they are. They wear fine clothes. That's not everybody, but I have watched in life the people that are in pain, they do the most because they're trying to hide their pain. They do not want to become transparent to show you who you really are because one is a lack of trust. They tried to come to somebody and express to them how they felt or what happened to them, and somebody disregarded them, or they've had people that just didn't believe them, so they prefer to shut down versus to step up, to speak up, and to speak out. Your experiences, my experiences, are used and should be used to help somebody else. Yeah, it hurt. Yes, it made you upset. Yes, it made you angry because of whatever the situation is or was or is to come. But be bold enough to use your voice, because there's somebody else that's hurting just like you hurt. But let's deal with stuff. Let's deal with our trauma. Let's deal with the stuff that we've had to encounter, the disappointments, the disagreements. There are people who are still struggling from their child, from what happened to them in their childhood, how it's seemingly a parent favored one more than the other, right? And some probably did. And I'm here to tell you that parents treat you according to your personality. Y'all parents can't treat every one of your children the same. You can't. Stop saying I treat all my children the same. No, you treat them according to their personality. You treat them according to their personality. You don't treat them the same because they are not the same. They have different fingerprints. They have different perception. You deal with your child according to their personality, right? It's a no-brainer. I'm like Rishonda, and that for that we say thank you. And so let's deal with it. Let's please deal with our trauma. Yes, it hurt. And then what happens is if you don't deal with it, you'll explode. The highest form of nutrition is your expression. Because if you can't express, it's going to hurt you inwardly. You got to express how you feel. When somebody shut you down, they don't love you. When somebody tell you, don't tell me what you feel, and you shouldn't feel that way. How do you tell me how I shouldn't feel? Just like again, let's go back to the beginning. We learned how not to be expressive when we were kids, when our parents would beat us and we would cry. And they said, shut up before I give you something to cry about. In other words, don't tell me how you feel. Don't express the pain that you are going through. Yeah. They're telling you, don't express. I don't want to hear it. When people don't, and they didn't understand what they were doing. But as adults, when people tell you, I don't want to hear what you got to say, and I don't want to hear how you feel, and I certainly don't want to hear how I made you feel, you need to walk away from that relationship. It could be family, friend, or foe, because you need to be able to express how you feel, regardless of how people judge you or misjudge you. They're going to think what they want to say anyways. They're going to talk about you regardless. As long as people have teeth, gums, and tongue, they are going to flap them. They're going to talk. People are committed to misunderstanding you. But you lay it out, make it clear, make it clean, make it so that a babe could understand, so that there is no ambiguity, no misinterpretation, except they are looking through the eyes of misinterpretation. There are people who are really committed to misunderstanding you. They really don't want the right perception about what you're saying. All right, go back to listen to this from the beginning, because it was very clear. The things that I missed in this book, and my mind made up a word. Your mind will play tricks on you. Go back and look at every detail, underline it. Go back and look at it. Even in relationships, go back and look at the details of your relationship, underline it. Get a right interpretation. Don't let your mind form a word that's not there. Don't let your mind, because your mind will form a situation that's not even true. So go back and deal with that and self-correct. When you see there's error, you've made a mistake, go back and self-correct, because that's a sign of maturity, accountability, right? I'm reading a book called The Power of Now. It is an amazing book, I'm telling you. And I'm going to go back and read it again because it took me some time to read it. But, oh, yes, repeated behavior. There are some people, let me tell you something, and I said it in my last slide. There are some people who are not willing to change, and they'll always come back and say, well, I've always been this way. I've always been like this. I've always. And there's something terribly wrong when you've always been evil or always been, because we should show some type of growth, right? Some type of maturity. Then the scripture said, let the wicked forsake their ways, right? There are people who they would use, I've always been like this, as an excuse not to change. As you get older and more mature, we should change for the better. If you're getting older and you're getting worse, it's because you've not dealt with your stuff. Your stuff. Turn that mirror inwardly and look at you as an individual and say, okay, I have to self-correct. I can't always use that I've always been this way, because always been this way is an excuse for not to change. An excuse for why you're not changing, because it's laziness. You refuse to put in the work to change, because change sometimes is very difficult and challenging. But put yourself in an environment that will provoke you to change. Have you ever seen people? They went to church all of their life and they're mean as a junkyard dog. They are mean as a pit bull full of fleas, and nothing has changed them. They're getting older, but they're not growing up. They're getting older, but there is no level of maturity. So that's all I have to say. Listen, I have to go. Why? Because I have a flight to catch. Well, yeah, don't let fear stop you from changing. Some people just really they don't want to put in the work, because it's work to work on you, to work on an individual. It's work. You remember the song "Sweep Around Your Own Front Door Before You Try to Sweep Around Mine"? Sometimes it's just challenging to sweep around your own front door, because your front door, around your door, is dirty. And every door you see outside of your door is dirty. And it's really not their door is dirty. It's your door that's dirty, right? And your perception and what you see through. Change your position, change your perception, change your lens, change the lens by which you view things in. Try to see things from a different angle. All right? Please, y'all have an amazing day. You're on my YouTube channel. Please go ahead and hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share this video. Those of you that are on my Facebook page, please hit like and share this video. It's going to be worth it. Somebody really do need to hear this. All right? Please have